Hello. It is it's day 22, but I'm recording for day 21 um, of 365 days of my raw journey for May 13th, 2024. Okay, I should have really got clear on that before I started recording. Apologies. Um, it has been a rough couple of days, which I'm sure you can tell from the previous episode. Um, So what happened May 13th on day 2021? I was mostly in a hospital emergency waiting room for most of that day. It was suspenseful, exhausting. We were, worried. We I didn't sleep. I think it was 33 hours that I was awake for. I closed my eyes a few times on the chairs, tried to get comfortable in a bunch of different weird positions and couldn't. Even one time curled up into a sort of a fetal position on one of the double chairs that they had there to try to get a little bit of sleep, and just it just didn't work. If I even kind of dozed a little bit, I was so instantly woken up by different noises, by discomfort, by the blood rushing to my head, or things like this. It was very uncomfortable. Um, so yeah, I had about a 33-hour window that I was awake for. Um, a lot of caffeine to the point where you feel jittery, but I didn't want to. Like, I just couldn't fall asleep. I couldn't go to sleep, so I was trying to stay, like, cognizant, um, and yeah, it was all around. It was a rough day. Um, Again, really, really grateful for, my daughter's father's safety, that he was alive, that he was going to be okay, um, and really grateful for this challenge, that I was knowing that I could just be there and be present for my loved one, for my daughter's father in his time of need, and for my daughter in her time of need, being there for her dad. That I could, that I work for myself, that I am self-employed, so that I can get up and go. And um, grateful to my other kid's father for um, his work schedule had shifted recently, and he was able to take the kids so that I could go, even in the middle of the night, and just have them the next day. And that wasn't a huge deal. Um, there were hiccups along the way. There were struggles. There were irritations. There were so many things, but all in all, everything worked out better than it could have, right? And um, you know, gratitude for my mom lending me the money to do that traveling, so that I could go and take my daughter down to her dad, um, and be there for my friend. And just even his dad actually put my daughter and I up in a hotel the evening of the 13th, to so that we could actually get some sleep and everything before driving home, and everything. And just all the pieces coming together in a way that I couldn't have orchestrated, because they were outside of my control. Um, just really supported the whole suspending disbelief movement, the whole suspending disbelief challenge and experiment, that my success is inevitable, and that everything is always exactly what it's meant to be. I'm always exactly where I'm meant to be. And if I wasn't, things wouldn't have worked out so smoothly. So I was. And um, again, just he's okay and we're okay, and being able to um, fall asleep that night later on in that evening, and have the peace of mind that he was going to be okay, and not having to set an alarm after being awake for so long. And just I could go on and on. There were just so many things. Um, and all in all, it was a really rough day, but also one that even in the moment, I could be grateful for the turns of events as they were happening, that I could be grateful for um, the stamina that I've been blessed with, that I could be grateful for the outlook that I've been blessed with. I've always been a glasses half full person, or a positive type person, and not in a toxic positive way, but just in a I always can see the bright side. Um, and I'm really grateful for that. Uh, I've been in dark places mentally before and never did get to that point. Um, Despite being in, a little bit of a dark space. Um, or even a lot of a dark space, I always was able to bring myself back out of that. I never did let people know around me, and that's not great. Thankfully, though, I had I had the ability to bring myself out of it. Sometimes people can't, and I guess before I talk more about that, a trigger warning again. I'm sorry if I already said something in this episode that I should have done a trigger warning for. Um, but it is actually at this time, it's Mental Health Awareness Week. Um, at the same time as all of this was happening with my daughter's father. Um, and I find that ironic. And I also find it like, I just feel like saying, of course it is. Of course it's Mental Health Awareness Week. Um, and yeah, so I wanted to talk about, like, some of the things that came up, talking to my 13-year-old daughter about what had happened. Um, Being able to say with absolute certainty that what had happened had nothing to do with her, that he didn't actually want to leave her, that depression and what he was going through are a mental health situation, and like it's like a disorder or an illness, and that you when you're in that state, you're not thinking clearly. You're not thinking from your rational mind like he would be if he was thinking about his daughter. And that it was not at all that he didn't want to be with her anymore, that he didn't care about her anymore, or any of these things. And I will be getting her some support and all of that, but I was able to say with clarity what that feels like, that it is not about anyone else or even about your actual circumstances. Things don't have to be horrible to feel like that. Um, Everything doesn't have to be going wrong in your life to feel like that. And um, it really is an illness, and it is something that people absolutely deserve support for, and um, more love, not less. And also, I hope that people realize that no matter what they do, if someone is in that space, they may not be aware of it or be able to, I don't know if the word is integrate, but they may not be able to take in the kind things that you say, the loving things that you say, um, the there's so much that is they're just not able to hear um, in that state. And just if you are ever feeling depressed or unworthy or alone, or like maybe it's all too hard, or any of these kinds of thoughts, it's time to get help then before it gets to where it's beyond your control. And really, I mean, that's how he described it, as it it didn't feel optional. It didn't feel like he had another option, even though he had all the options in the world. Um, it just it doesn't feel like that mentally. And so if you have had those thoughts, or if someone you know has had those thoughts, um, do your best to encourage them to go and seek help sooner than later, not to just handle it, not to just hold it for themselves, because it does eventually hit a point where it's uncontrollable, and it is so heartbreaking for everyone else, um, who would have wanted to be there for that person. And um, yeah, aside from all of that, I I was very aware and grateful for the fact that I was able to hold that duality of the situation, of the grief over a near miss, over a near loss, the and also the gratitude at the same time. Um, so you know, taking takeaways from that are just hold your loved ones close, right? Always let them know how much you care before they're ever at that point. Um, always be checking in with your loved ones. Always be and this isn't to say I had talked to him the day before, so like there's not always something that you can do, right? But just it just makes you really want to do your best at being present with everyone that you love, at always being there for the people that need you, um, and really, really focus on the things that we have to be grateful for, because they are so unlimited. And even in a dark time like that, to be able to see them, they really are abundant and bountiful, and all the other abundant words. Like it is, there's so much to be grateful for in our lives. And I'm so grateful for everyone who's listening. I'm so grateful for my family, my friends, and everyone in my life. And again, so, so grateful that we still have him around today. So, um, yeah, uh, very rough day, not the best, but all turned out well in the end. And I will talk to you all tomorrow.